What's the average salary here in France? What do you like most about living here in France during the winter season? The money, and everything came out to 114 euros. What do you like least about living in France?
The French. Mountain communities tend to be more closed-minded, especially toward foreigners. So coming here, of course, we're not French, so we always suffer a bit from this racism, of course.
Good morning, Dos Locos de Viaje. We're still skiing through the mountains of France, this time accompanied by Elin. How are you?
Hello, good morning.
Elin is Kevin's girlfriend, and she's also a ski and snowboard instructor. In this video, it's one you'll like most, and that gets the most views on the channel. And it's about finding out what life is like in France. We're going to learn a bit about salaries, safety, everything. About traditions, everything people do. Obviously in the winter, because Eileen spends the whole season here, right?
Exactly. I am Italian by origin, but I've been living here in France for about 7 years now. During the winter season, of course, because here in the summer, especially in the three valleys of Courchevel, it's very, very quiet.
In the first video, we explored the whole Courchevel Valley, but in this video, we're going to explore the other two, which are Méribel and Valtoran. You'll get to see new landscapes. Look how amazing. This is the first time I've had this kind of cabin, which has like a tinted film. Eli is helping me lift it, and then you lift it up. So the sun doesn't blind you. You just do this and look how beautiful it is. So, well, we're going to start asking Elin some questions, but first let's get some shots of this whole place. How would you describe life in France?
Well, my main experience is here in the mountains. So I have more information about life in France during the winter. But I have also spent some summers in France. In the south, on the Côte d'Azur, there are also some luxurious areas like Niscan. Life here is really intense for us during the winter because we work every day. I mean, we don't have any days off. We never stop. We're always on the slopes working. And of course, we're lucky to have a very beautiful job because we live off our passion. And here, as a teacher, I've always skied my whole life, but of course, maybe still. It's tough and intense, just 5 months of skiing all day, clients and work.
Is it just Monday to Friday or also weekends?
Oh, especially on weekends. Here we never stop. We don't get Christmas, New Year's or Easter off. When you're on vacation, we work even more.
Wow, so you work non-stop for 4 or 5 months?
Exactly. Then maybe we take some days off because our bodies need it, but I know teachers who work non-stop from the 1st of December.
Okay, after winter ends, do you work another job or rest for the rest of the year?
I'd like to rest, but I need to earn a living. So during the summer, I go back to Italy to help my family, who also have a mountain lodge. I live in the mountains year-round. And there we run a lodge that's at the top of a mountain, where we have a restaurant and lodging. And we also have the whole dairy area with cows and cheese production.
Wow, so you never stop, really? You never stop? Never. Look, we are reaching the top of Méribel to then cross over to Valtoran, which is like the farthest valley from Courchevel where we are staying. We'll try to reach the end, then gradually come back. Because, as I mentioned in the previous video, the ski slopes close at 4:30 and so do the cable cars. The idea isn't to stay in these valleys and then find transportation to another, but rather, as I mentioned, Here in Courchevel, there's the largest ski area in the world, so you can practically go between the three valleys by skiing and taking gondolas, cable cars, and chairlifts. And well, that's what we're going to do today. Tell me, what is the minimum wage and what is the average salary here in France?
And well, since you told me that you've been both in the south and here in the mountains, do you think there's a difference?
Well, here in France, they have a minimum wage called Salaire Minimum Interprofessionnel de Croissance, which is about 11.65 euros per hour. The monthly net total is about 1,300 euros. And there's a very clear distinction here at the station between workers with a contract and self-employed workers, like me, for example. So the workers with a contract would be like those who work in the hotel, in the restaurants, and they have a fixed salary. I think it's around $2,000 per month, so it's much higher than in other places, but they earn a lot in tips.
Okay, especially because I've noticed that the cost of living here in the mountains is a bit higher than, for example, in other neighborhoods in the country, right?
Yes, of course, because the fact that we're also at a higher altitude makes everything more expensive. For example, the market costs 30% more than it would in the city. And maybe it's hard to get certain types of food, certain types of diets. I mean, we have limited access to the normal services that we would have somewhere else. So it's a bit expensive to live here, and besides, we don't live on top of the mountain. But for those living higher up, it's even pricier.
They live in a small village called La Perrière, about 15 or 20 minutes from the top of Courchevel. 1850, which is about as high as you can go by car, and then you take the cable cars to go up and ski. But Kevin was telling me that as you go higher up, the costs go up too. And there are some pretty big differences. Correct me if I'm wrong, Elin, between Khrushchev 1450, 1650, and 1850.
Exactly. The farther out you go, the more you see that the lifestyle is more luxurious. They have more luxury services. So an apartment in 1850 is worth more than twice the same type of apartment in 1300, for example.
Wow, well, we're about to arrive and we have to get off to ski a little more, but we're going to find out all those prices soon. Me, from the mountains of France, I have full signal. And I'm impressed that a place so far from towns and cities has very good coverage.
Well, here we are at the top of Mont de la Chambre, which is kind of the connection between Le Menhir and Meribel. After about 500 meters, we'll reach Valtoran, then work through the town.
Elin, you pronounce French very well. Do you speak it?
Yes, I speak French because I studied in Switzerland, in Geneva for 3 years, and spent the season here in France.
Besides Italian, Spanish, and French, do you speak any other languages?
Yes, English and Portuguese.
Wow. So are you a polyglot? Elin, do you think you need to know French to work in France?
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessary. But of course, speaking the local language helps you a lot, especially when it comes to connecting with the more local side of the place. Being able to have doors open by speaking French has really helped me a lot to get access to many services, which you just can't do with only English. So I recommend having at least a basic level of French so it allows you to connect more with the people there.
Of course, since most of your clients aren't French.
No. Actually, they're from all over the world. I've even had Chinese and Indonesians, but French clients. It's difficult because it's a specific social class.
And of course, I imagine that the French also prefer French instructors.
Yes, let's say that I, as an independent teacher, work more with a more restricted audience. And French clients work more with the institutions, which is the CEF École Ski Français. I attended that school, and after 5 years, I began working independently.
Oh, okay, because there are two ways to take ski lessons, through a school or with a private instructor. But we'll talk about that a little later. Officially, we are in Valtorans. Valtorans, I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Valtorans.
Valthorans. And now we're gonna start skiing down to the lower part of this valley to reach the little villages. As you can see, right now there are only snowy mountains all around, but as you go down, you find civilization. More chairlifts, restaurants, chalets, hotels, etc. And then, well, go back up to head again to Meribel. And if we have time left, do Courchevel again. If not, there are still several days of skiing left. So relax, my crazy friends. What a beauty. Look at Elin there doing homework. Look how cool. This is a new level of zip lining unlocked with the skis on your back. Let's go, everybody. Sit down, sit down.
Come on, sit down.
1, 2, 3, woo woo. The 360 broke and I couldn't make more videos, but, well, a little video before going out.
Because I have to put the camera away.
Look how beautiful the Valtoran Valley is from this perspective. It's a shame I broke the camera, but well, here are some images for you. We got off that zip line and honestly, the experience was spectacular, full of adrenaline. They only helped you at the start, not on the next 2 zip lines. It was autonomous. You had to do everything yourself and braking was tough, so you'd end up hitting yourself. I used a handbrake instead. Before getting to the station so that obviously you wouldn't have an accident, but I loved it. What did you think, Elin? Wow.
It was amazing. So much adrenaline, so much speed. Like right above the ischial bones. Wow, totally.
Look at everything around me. This is Valtoran Valley, the town, I mean. And unlike Courchevel or Meribel, this one isn't divided into levels. This is pretty much all there is, right, Elin?
That's right, right?
Look, what a beauty.
These are like the chalets over there.
Yes, there are many more apartments and buildings here, unlike Courchevel, which is more luxurious with mostly chalets owned by one owner. Here the buildings are older, like from the 80s, and you can see people on the balconies sunbathing and enjoying themselves.
Also, this valley is much more affordable than the other two, right?
Of course.
Percentage-wise, how much could it be?
Well, the ski pass is the same for the 3 valleys, so it's quite cost effective. In terms of accommodation, I think a week here will cost you about half as much as in Courchevel. The same goes for food.
People could also sleep here, but then go to Courchevel every day by cable car, right?
Of course, they can go skiing, but it will take time and they should be skilled skiers. And also be very careful with the schedules because of the risk of getting stuck in the other valley. But is it possible?
They already consider that. In the previous video, we specifically talked about the prices of coming to ski, from renting the equipment to accommodations, both budget and luxury. But anyway, you already know if you want something even cheaper or if you want a bit more luxury but not so expensive.
You can come to Valtoran where they have more affordable prices.
Same in Valtoran. It's a place that's much more for young people, so they have a lot of party bars like Politus and Igloo Bar. So it's a place where everything stays here in the village. People arrive directly by car and spend the week here without having to move their car, going out to party every day.
Eli, a question. What is the cost of living in Courchevel? Or, well, Perrier, where you live? I mean, how much is the average rent for a couple? And how much do you spend on food?
Well, honestly, Kevin and I live in a 70 square meter apartment which has 2 bedrooms, so it's pretty big. We pay 1,400 euros a month, excluding electricity and gas, which are separate. So I would say that in the end, we pay about 1,800 euros per month. Not counting groceries, we reach about 2,200, 2,300, depending a bit on the month.
Groceries or with groceries?
2,000 with groceries?
With groceries. That is, they could spend between 200 and 400 on food.
Exactly, per month.
Of course, since we always go to the restaurant with clients at noon, although our grocery shopping is also quite limited. We only do 2 because in the end we only have lunch, dinner and breakfast.
Okay, so go ahead, add it up. A person who eats all 3 meals at home could spend about 600 euros between...
600 to 700 euros, I would say.
Is that so? Also, did you mention earlier that the average salary here was about 2,000 euros, and that's just expenses? It's more than 2,000 euros. And that's even though they don't live so far up, but rather in a small village further down, like the people who earn this minimum wage do.
Well, the difference is a bit that I, as a freelance teacher, also as a teacher in general, I have accommodation that I find myself, while the people who work here are housed by their boss.
Okay.
So they don't have this kind of expense to pay because they're already accommodated.
If they come to work, for Courchevel, the accommodation expenses are covered by the boss. We're almost there again. We're going to ski for a bit and eat. And as a ski instructor, well, I want to talk about the jobs you have.
Well, you and Kevin, but a little while ago, were you saying there were?
2 ways to teach, at a school or independently. How much is an average salary, like? How do you get paid, monthly or bi-weekly? How do you get clients?
Okay, well, honestly, I can share my experience from both sides because when I arrived here, I was with the French school, which only accepts you if you speak French, so for me it was pretty easy to get in.
And there they pay you by the hour.
In the sense that it depends on the number of years of seniority you have there, and the school has a percentage that decreases over the years. So when you arrive, depending on your level of education, you have a more or less high percentage. For example, I came here with the highest education, and instead of starting with 42% retention, which is what you have at school, I started at 23%, and over 4 years in school reduced it to 15%, which is already a very good result. Which brought me to an hourly wage of 82.5 euros net per
Hour. Per hour, of course, because they charge the student about $100, more or less 100 euros. Exactly. So if they took away 23, you're left with about 77, and then if they took away 15, you're left with about 85, something like that.
Exactly, okay?
And per month it depends. It's a bit hard to tell you a monthly salary. Because in the end, even though we're here for school, we're independent. In the sense that if one day I didn't want to go to work, I just needed to call the school and say that I'm not working today. There are high season periods when they don't allow you to do that, but I would say with the school, the last year I was with the school, I earned 28,000 euros in almost 3 months.
I mean like 14,000 euros a month.
Yes, a bit less, maybe 10 or 12,000, plus there are the tips which aren't fixed. Can change from year to year, but it still helps you, to earn a little more.
As an independent worker, you probably earn more, otherwise you wouldn't have left school.
Exactly, independent. Honestly, I earn a lot more because first I set my own prices and second, everything I make is for me.
Okay.
We'll find out those prices, but we need to get there again.
Look, here I'm going to take my first red slope of the day. Of course, I'm going to put the camera away because we don't want any accidents.
And Elin, before I leave, at least one black slope.
Okay.
Elin stepped up and said, "Give me the camera, I'll record you." So may God reward us.
Here we go. How about La Roja? Lina?
But I loved it, I felt confident, alert, always. It's not that I was relaxed, but I liked it. It's just that there were a lot of people at some moments. And you have to be very careful because a collision with the skis can be easy.
Here we go down the black slope.
Look at the restaurant where we're going to eat, right in the middle of nowhere.
Wow, I'm really amazed by this valley because it's much more untouched. It has way fewer buildings. And also, we're lucky because Eli told me that Valtoran is the valley that gets the most crowded. Also because it's the most affordable. That's where more people come. But anyway, today we were really lucky. And it's very empty.
Look, it's practically just for us, this whole area. Look how beautiful this place is with the restaurant.
There's also a small souvenir shop we'll visit when we go out to eat.
Look how they tempt you with the desserts right here at the entrance, so you start craving them even before you go in. This looks delicious. His name is Chef Pepe.
Nicholas?
Is that like Chef Pepe Nicholas?
Chef means like you're at Pepe Nicholas's house?
I assumed it was like chef.
It's not a Zayat.
Look at this beautiful table. Look how beautiful this place is at night. This is a photo from here, well, at sunset. And look at how it is in summer. Wow, look. Everything is green with some snow-capped mountains in the background. A lot of the food prepared here comes from their farm. They have cheese, eggs, milk, and also meat. A bit of everything.
And now I'll show you what we ordered and how much it costs.
I don't think I need to say anything about this hot chocolate, right? The cream tastes like they just milked a cow 15 minutes ago and used it. Wow.
This cream is so good, and let's see how the chocolate is.
Alright, Eileen, let's continue.
Now tell me.
What's the salary of an independent teacher? What are the requirements to become a ski instructor?
salary depends on how much you want to work. It also depends on whether you have your own clients or if you get work that others pass on to you. There's always a commission when someone else gets you the work, but I would say it's between about 40 and it can go much higher. I have these friends who make 150,000 euros as ski instructors during 4 months.
During the season?
During the season, yes.
And is that charged monthly or is it charged per day or per hour, like a regular teacher?
It's usually charged by the day since the area is large, with a full day running from 9:30 to 4:30. So the best clients for us are the ones who do the whole week. They arrive Saturday and ski Sunday through Friday. What that allows us is to have 6 days of guaranteed work and start again the following week, always with another client.
Okay. And a day of ski lessons with a private instructor, how much would that cost, more or less?
Well, the prices are about the same as a school's. The school is 600, 650, depending on the season, high or low. With a private instructor, it's a little higher because you already know your skiing partners. The type of service is more personalized. The attention your instructor gives you is greater, I would say, because it doesn't depend on a school. I'm very interested in you coming back. So the price can be from about 650 up to about 1,000 euros per day.
That's with dedicated clients? Is that price for one person or does it include my partner? Can both of us pay the same price?
Of course, the price is the same. It can even be for 4 or 5 people. The main thing for all of us is that everyone is at about the same level. If a couple wants to ski together but one is a beginner and the other is advanced, how do you handle that? And if Valeria came next year, maybe you would need 2 different instructors, or would one of you have the patience until the other reaches the same level?
Okay, I got it. And well, based on what you're telling me then? Most of the clients come through agencies or other schools or something like that?
Clients can come through several channels. I would tell you that when you work at a school, the easiest way is through the hotel concierge. Because hotels and schools have many deals, and so the schools always work with the best clients, so to speak. And once you already know the client can book directly with you. And that's kind of what happened to me. Like when I left the school, there were many clients who wanted to be with me. They didn't mind paying more because ultimately they wanted to be with me, not just anyone from the school. And in the end, what always works best is that they can have social networks. Of course, Instagram helps a lot to get clients, but in the end, like, how do you say it?
Word of mouth?
Word of mouth is always the best. I had clients last week. The friends wanted to ski with me, and they were even doubting another instructor because it wasn't me, you know?
Well, for those who don't know, concierge is a term used for a person who organizes people's trips. So you'll hear that in the previous video. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch it after this. A concierge is basically what wealthy people hire to take care of everything. From ski passes, hotels, activities, restaurants, and everything else you can imagine. What can you do here in Courchevel and its surroundings?
There's a Robuchon emulsion, a goat cheese emulsion. There are 2 cheeses that we make there at our farm. There's goat raclette, so goat cheese as well, and that's a cow's milk cheese. There is 2 chilies, like
it said
and Hippocras gems. Hippocras is wine with spices and honey.
Oh, how delicious. Thank you, that's...
Just a plate, sir. I'll be right back.
Okay. Wow, this looks amazing. I ordered like a... beef stew. Wow, this looks delicious. Beautiful.
Thank you.
You so much.
We make our cheese at Mille Belleville's restaurant right here.
Wow.
Look.
They gave her the cheese and the machine so she could add it herself. We left some food because we were too full and the total was 100.
14 euros, Eli. What would this cost in Courchevel?
I think at least 300, 400 euros would be the minimum.
Well, then it's good that we ate it here in Valtoran, right? We continue the journey because, as I told you at the beginning, now we have to go back to Maribel at least.
That's where we left the car parked.
And it's already around 3:30 in the afternoon, and the cable cars are open until 4:30.
Elin, have you already told me the differences between a ski school instructor and an independent ski instructor?
But now the million-dollar question, why, with those salaries, whether at a school or as an independent?
Honestly, I want to come try out at A Courchevel too. What are the requirements to become a ski instructor? How long does learning take?
Give me all the details.
Okay, is that all right then? It varies by country. In Europe, several countries let you take the course. There are easier countries like Slovenia, Germany, England, and then there are more difficult countries where ski culture is more important. So for example, I did it in Italy. For me, it wasn't hard since I had always competed, so getting in and passing the selection was easy. But the truth is that in countries like Italy or France or Switzerland, they require you to have competed. And then, the course has a different duration depending on each country. For example, in Italy, we do it for a year, so you start in April for a whole year. It's very intense because every week you have a week of training course. It can be in the classroom for the theoretical subjects, or it can be on glaciers even during the summer. And the difference, slightly, what allows us to access another country, like in my case, are the European level certificates that they implemented. The first one is called Europe, which is a giant slalom competition, which is one of the disciplines, and you have to finish within a certain time. In the case that you have competed, like I did, if you have below 80 points for women and 100 for men, you no longer need this test. Like in my case, I had fewer points, so I didn't need to do it. And that's the first one, so it's a technical test. So to speak, it measures your skills a bit within a course, within the clubs. The second one is called Eurosecurity, which, as the name suggests, is a European regulation related to safety. So that's all that involves off-piste rescue. You have a test to pass, where you have to search for a body. I don't know if it's a real body, but you have all the equipment to go off-piste and you have a set amount of time. Now I don't remember if it's 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes to find 2 bodies. And if you manage to do it, then you're qualified to take clients off-piste. That automatically lets you teach classes in countries outside Europe. Wow.
Wow. So it's not that simple either, because if you don't compete, it's practically impossible, at least in countries like France or Italy, right?
Exactly, and then also the other countries. Now with the fact that there's a Eurotest, it can be easy to get into your own country, but if you don't have the Eurotest, which is this giant slalom test, you still won't be a teacher. You could have attended every day of the course and have the highest level, but without this test, if you haven't passed it yet, you still can't teach.
Okay, well, there you have it. Everyone who, as Elin explained, the money you could make was already saying, I'm moving just to listen to the season of the one I do. The course isn't that easy, but watch out, this isn't the only job that pays really well in this area. The previous video shared with us today might have been about filmmaking. Between 700 and 1200 euros in a single day of work, whether it's half a day or a full day. All the editing, post-production, video recording, and sending finished videos to clients at home. Also the investment in equipment, because maybe a ski instructor doesn't have to invest as much money in equipment as what's invested here in cinema cameras, drones, action cameras, computers, and so on and so on and so on.
So, well, now you have a broader perspective of what life is like here in France, specifically in the winter.
Minimum and average wages.
How much can you earn if you're a pro like Lino or Kevin? And before we finish, Link, I want you to tell me, what do you like most about living here in France during the winter season? For example, you don't do it in Italy or Switzerland, even though there's a lot there too, right?
La Plata? Well, honestly, one of the main reasons why it's really worth it for my boyfriend and me to be here is the
money. In many
other places in Italy, like the Dolomites, are beautiful but lack the economic opportunities we have here. Once you know a place like this, it's hard. Adjusting to less makes it your new standard. I mean, for us, it's normal to go out to eat with clients, spend a week with them, and get tips. So switching to a system like Italy's, where clients change every hour, would be a downgrade.
downgrade, like stepping down a level. Okay. And what do you like the least about living in France?
The French? Can we say we cut it off?
No, that's not right. You don't have every right. Obviously.
Honestly, yes, in some cases, these situations are difficult because it's a different culture. From my Italian perspective and Kevin's Venezuelan perspective, because even though we're neighboring countries, we have a lot of cultural differences that I notice every day. People in the mountains tend to have a more closed mindset, especially toward foreigners. So coming here, of course, we are not French, so we always experience a bit of this racism. Of course, it's important to remember whenever you travel abroad or visit places farther from the city.
Where Kevin was telling me and showed me that the van, they scratched the doors because they're foreigners.
Ready for another red one?
Ready for another red one. Look, I think this video has been very interesting. We've discovered a lot of things, and the best part is, just like the previous video, it's going to be published while I'm still here in Courchevel. So if you have any doubts or questions, leave them in the comments, because I think Elin will be more than happy to answer them, and Kevin too. And well, I'm grateful once again for giving me this day, for giving me ski lessons, and for taking me to see their backyard.
Home. Okay, thank you.